Right, shifting our focus now, in less than 48 hours from now, voters in Hungary will cast their ballot in a critical parliamentary election. These polls on the 12th of April are shaping up to be the toughest challenge yet for the incumbent Prime Minister, Viktor Orban. The person making this battle difficult for Orban is his biggest political rival, Péter Magyar. The 45-year-old was once a part of Orban's party and the Prime Minister's ally. Peter is a lawyer turned political representative. The TISA party leader identifies himself as a conservative liberal and a pro-European lawmaker, but not without criticism for the bloc. Péter Magyar's political career, remember, began in the year 2002, when he joined Viktor Orban's Fidesz party, which at the time was in the opposition. Then in 2010, he became an official in the foreign ministry and soon went on to be a part of the Prime Minister's office. All was well until 2024, when Peter quit and joined a lesser-known TISA party. He then contested the EU Parliament elections and led several anti-government rallies against Orban. Through 2024 and 25, Péter Magyar emerged as Orban's main political rival and emerged as the TISA party's prime ministerial candidate for the April 12th election. The opposition leader is also a frontrunner across several opinion polls. Whether those surveys translate into a real victory, and will Hungary have a new prime minister after 16 long years? We'll find out next week. And our correspondent Pablo Guterres is joining us live from Budapest, Hungary. Let me understand from him what the pulse of the people is. Pablo, I want to start by understanding how people are looking at Péter Magyar. Opinion polls say that he is much ahead of Viktor Orban. But what is the status right now? Is that going to be translating into concrete votes in favor of him?
Well, the answer to the question, we will know it for sure on Sunday. What I can tell you right now is that Péter Magyar, since he announced his candidacy back in March 2024, has been predominantly leading in most independent opinion polls. And actually, there is some polling from some groups aligned with the government that show him ahead. But right now, the average, it's a double-digit lead for Péter Magyar. Now, you mentioned a little bit in your introduction about who he is, right? But I can tell you that before 2024, most Hungarians did not know the name Péter Magyar. His name really, and he rose to national prominence after a scandal that shook Fidesz and Orban's government. That was when the accusations, the scandal that broke out after the president, Kathleen Novak of this country, it was revealed that she accused, that she pardoned a man who had been found guilty of protecting pedophiles in a school, in a children's home here in Budapest. Now, Magyar was married at that time to the then Minister of Justice, Judith Varga. And after this scandal, Magyar broke with the party. He came out and criticized Orban. And then this is when he rose to and captured the attention and the imagination, let's say that, of the Hungarian people. It wasn't until the elections, the European elections, when Magyar and his TISA party got about 30% of the vote. That was in 2024. That was the first time since 2006 that a political party here in Hungary got 30% of the vote in the European parliamentary election. Okay. And that moment actually cemented the TISA party and Péter Magyar not only as a French movement or as a rising star, but an actual political force here in Hungary. So his rise comes from this pedophile scandal that shook the Orban government, and then it basically continues because of Hungary's economy, because of the satisfaction by the Hungarian people for the quality of services or the lack of quality of some of the services here. I'm talking about healthcare, education, railroads, and so on. So this is basically what's bringing us to this moment in history right now, where Péter Magyar is looking at a window where he could take, possibly, if the polls predicted, Orban out of power after 16 years.
All right, so a plethora of issues that Hungarians are looking at to be resolved. We'll have to wait and see whether, that is translated into concrete votes as far as Péter Magyar is concerned. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Pablo, for joining us and getting us a sense from Hungary.